All right, to get deeper into the redistricting conversation, I want to bring in our political experts. We have Republican strategist Rob Stutzman joining us and Democratic strategist Andrew Acosta. Thank you both so much for being here. Appreciate it. I want to start off with Rob, you first. Let's talk about voters. What is the mood of Californians right now, especially when it comes to redistricting specifically, and how is that really shaping the debate around this proposition?
Well, I don't know if we know that the voters are paying that much attention, to be honest. That is one of the great questions to be determined by the election. The polling that is available to us, we have some preliminary numbers that show that maybe they're not so interested in doing this. Democrats may think it's a good idea. Republicans don't. Independents aren't sure what's going on. I think this will be a challenge for both campaigns to engage and inform as we get closer to the ballots being available here within the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, Andrew, I know you and I were just talking, and that was one of the biggest questions we were, discussing is, do people actually know what's going on?
Well, I think Democratic voters know they don't like Donald Trump. So that part I think we all have figured out. So that's a lot of the messaging you're going to see is vote yes, stop Trump. So that part of the equation has started. Now, where this ends and can they close the deal with voters when they get their ballots, we'll have to see that. And
I know we were talking, and you were even talking about the messaging of vote yes, vote no being a little bit confusing. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, I think there are 20-something groups out there pushing a yes campaign, and some of them are pushing a yes campaign saying, vote yes so we can vote no on these healthcare cuts and vote no on Donald. So the yes-no messaging becomes confusing. I think voters get, okay, I need to vote yes, but when you start adding in to stop this and no on that, then it's like, it's too much.
Yeah.
So I think the stop Trump thing is easy.
Now, we know a lot of money is being put into this race. Do you think it'll have an impact on the outcome, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, I think, the numbers are, they've raised, the yes side's raised over 70-something million. They haven't spent it yet. No one's voting yet, so there's still time. So it'll definitely have an impact, and I think, you have the other side, the no side, who's backed by someone who can write checks at $10 million a pop. That could also have an impact.
Yeah, I think whoever spends the most money may win. It very well could come down to that. So Andrew's, of course, talking about Charles Munger Jr., who has funded the no campaign to this point to the tune of $30 million. We're waiting to see some money come in from what's the more traditional Republican opposition effort. They've reported raising about $5 million. Well, that's woefully short. I think there's a real question if national Republican donors are going to come in on this or not. So far, they haven't shown up.
Now, Rob, if the proposition passes or it fails, what do you think this really signals about Governor Newsom's potential run for president?
Well, he's all in. This is really ultimately about Newsom running for president. You're going to.
You mean you think redistricting is ultimately about?
Sure, it's his chance. As I describe it, it's an authentic fight for him to have with Trump, and so he's able to lead his party into this fight. For partisans that want to fight fire with fire, there's a big question though for millions of Californians as to, well, so you're telling me we have to stoop to the level of Trump in order to beat Trump, and are we going to continue to do this in American politics, or are we a little bit tired of it? I think if this passes, I think it's a very unfortunate situation in California where you'll have about 8% of the population represented by Republicans in Congress, yet they vote at about a 40 to 42% level Republican in this state for statewide electeds. There's nothing healthy about that for those of us here in California. It might be healthy for Newsom's national ambitions, but is it really what's best for this state going forward the rest of the decade?
Andrew, what are your thoughts?
Well, I agree. I mean, I do think that when I started doing politics a long time ago, before I had gray hair, the state assembly was almost 40-40, 80 members, and you had more dialogue in the races I worked on. You had Democrats and Republicans talking to each other during campaigns. That's not where we are today. But I think on Newsom's future, I mean, I think a lot of the moves he's making back in New York, talking about sort of what they've done to lead the charge in climate for the climate week. This is a lot about Gavin positioning himself as somebody who's going to be a leader, be it taking on Donald Trump or energy or whatever, pick the issue. And that's where he's trying to position himself.
And Rob, I know you kind of talked about this a little bit already, but big picture, what does this redistricting battle really mean for California politics right now? And also, it's, future and how it shapes the influence of the national stage.
So it means California becomes less important. So the road to whoever is going to have the majority of the House is through California, unless 50 passes. If 50 passes, we lose all these competitive seats. The interest, the money, the competitive campaigns, the relevance to voters to live in swing districts goes away. And California becomes less important and our voice is diminished because we're completely giving in to this uber one-party rule in California. And so what it allows is without competitive seats, allows those voters to pretty much be ignored.
But that's the point of the initiative. I mean, that's why they did this, is they did this with the sole purpose of finding, 5 seats, making the Democratic seats more Democratic. And I mean, that was the goal. I don't think anyone's going to be shocked when they wake up and figure out that California's now gone even bluer.
But as Andrew says, that's the point. But the consequence of the point is it quiets the strength of voters in California and it quiets their voices.
So we'll be talking to you guys again soon.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you both so much.